I, 28 female, caused havoc by doing my own laundry and not my boyfriend's, 28 male. I bought some new laundry baskets for me and my boyfriend of 8 years, both 28. Laundry is my least favorite chore, it's overwhelming with my other house responsibilities, cooking, dishes, pet maintenance, etc., and he doesn't like the way I fold his clothes. I thought this would be a good solution. We split laundry as a chore as much as we can. I messed up, because I didn't talk about buying these baskets, or doing laundry separately. I wanted to try it out, thought it was a good idea and set it up. The separate baskets seemed to be fine this week. We had been placing our separate clothes in separate bins. Today was my first day off. I did chores around the house, walked the dog, did my laundry and got it put away feeling good. My partner comes home from work and asked if any of his clothes were cleaned. I said no, but that there were clean items left over from the laundry I did last week. He asks if we are doing it separately now. I said yes, and he expresses that he would like to have talked about it first. I apologize and he goes silent. I can hear him huffing a bit. A few minutes pass, he comes back to me, let me know that he is upset I didn't talk to him about it first and that having a shared chore for the past 5 years now be changed is unfair. I said I was sorry and is surprised at his reaction. I let him know that the laundry overwhelms me and I was trying to find a better solution. I didn't mean to make a negative statement or impact him negatively. He got more upset, saying I don't actually sound sorry and not listening to him about the issue, which was consulting with him first on the baskets. We go back and forth, him getting more disappointed, angry and me getting more anxious about saying something wrong. He says, this isn't getting better, referring to our arguing, and then says he can't do this anymore, not threatening the relationship, but that by doing our laundry separately we are getting closer and closer to live in roommates that fuck, and he is tired of not getting respect in his life and is about to rage. He storms away, yells, "Stop moving my shit," after ruffling some things around, goes out and punches his car and screams at the top of his lungs in his car and then drives away to some plans he had. I am feeling emotionally wrecked after these confrontations. I'm feeling like a complete dumbass and asshole, but also scared to say anything wrong the next time in fear of this reaction. He refuses therapy of any kind. I'm feeling really stuck in how to navigate this situation without feeling like a fuck up. Too long did not read. I bought laundry baskets without asking. My boyfriend is extremely mad and I'm unsure how to navigate after apologizing. Is this level of rage common to your disagreements? Wait, so you work. Then you come home, cook, clean, pretty, you do all the housework. He has to co-help, do the laundry, which you do all anyways, and he still has the audacity to complain about how it's folded, get mad you didn't do his clothes after he keep whining about it. He does help out but he feels disrespected? And he throws a fit like a 2-year-old? What exactly are you getting out of this relationship? It sounds like you have to take care of yourself and an adult child. You get this might eventually escalate and instead of him hitting the car it might be you next time, right? I lived this for 25 years. He's using rage strategically to intimidate you into behaving the way he wants. Do you notice patterns of rage then love bombing when you start to get fed up? Do you replay conversations trying to find what you said wrong, or try to choose words so carefully so you won't set him off? He's abusive, it's deliberate. You are in an abusive relationship whether or not he ever lays a hand on you. You're long overdue for making yourself the most important person in your own life. This clearly is about more than laundry baskets. He either needs to work on figuring out how to manage his emotions in a reasonable way or you may want to get out. He's bottling things he should be talking about, closer and closer to live in roommates that fuck, and he is tired of not getting respect in his life. And even when it comes to the time when you should be talking it out like reasonable people, he explodes and storms out? Do you want to be with someone who handles life like that? Does he often manipulate you by threatening your relationship when you stand up for yourself? And is it common for him to yell, scream and damage properly when things don't go his way? Honestly, you did nothing wrong. You're in a relationship that's abusive in so many ways: the unfair division of labor, the nitpicking, doesn't like the way I fold his clothes, the escalation into yelling and screaming and punching things and threatening the relationship when something that should have been a simple conversation occurs. And you know this because you're too scared to say anything lest he explode again. Your instincts are telling you that this isn't a safe situation for you. Please listen to them. My 40M husband, 38M, was unfaithful and doesn't want to cut contact with the affair partner. We have had an agreement that we can hook up, safely, with others if the opportunity arises, so semi-open in terms of our relationship. That said, we agreed to the caveat that we would not maintain ongoing relationships with others outside of our relationship. Essentially random occasional hookups only. My husband violated that rule last year and I caught him. He promised he would cut it off and stop talking to that guy. 6 months later I found out they were still in contact but supposedly not meeting up or having any kind of physical relationship. A couple of months ago I found out he was doing it again with another guy. He claims it was not a relationship, yet he spent the night at the guy's house multiple times, and I came to find out that he was having unprotected sex with both guys. I told him I'm done and we're done. Now he wants to work on it and says he has cut off the physical part of his relationship with the second guy, but that they are friends and he won't cut contact. They still text, chat and meet up at the gym and work out together. He doesn't see it as a problem and says he won't be controlled and that I can't tell him who he can and can't be in contact with. I let him know it's not about control, just about my boundary. If he needs to be friends with that guy, he will not have me. I'm really hurt and disappointed that this friendship is more important to him than our 15-year relationship, but I guess it is what it is. I'm sorry, Op. It sounds like he is done with your relationship. Thank you all for the comments and affirmation that I'm doing the right thing. It's hard to hear and do, but I know it's the right thing. I appreciate everyone's kindness. Good for you. Boundaries are important and he crossed the line more than once. What did he think would happen? No ultimatums. Don't give him an inch. Leave him. He has shown you that he does not respect you, and keeping a relationship with these other men is more important than his marriage to you. Don't put up with that bullshit. He is free to keep that friend. You are free to divorce him. He's made his stance clear. You or your comfort aren't the priority here. Personally, I wouldn't stick around in that dynamic. BF, M25, won't talk to me because I, F25, told him I don't like when he fingers me. We have been together for 4 years, both 25. For context, we were in bed trying to get in the mood. My boyfriend was trying to finger me, but I kept moving his hand away and redirecting him to my boobs. Personally, I enjoy foreplay that involves my boobs and getting head. That's it, and then I like getting into sex. In the past, he has fingered me and has hurt me, which is part of the reason why I don't want his fingers down there. I've told him before when he's hurt me, and since he doesn't really finger me, but lately I noticed he's been trying more. Anyway, when I redirect him to my boobs, I visibly and physically see that his whole demeanor changed. I asked him what's wrong and he said I never let him finger me. I tell him I prefer other kinds of foreplay and he protests by saying I used to like it before, I never did. It would just hurt. But I didn't say anything, instead I told him that it hurts when he tries touching me there. I tell him in detail what I prefer. He then goes silent and tells me to get off him. He tells me he feels hurt, embarrassed and uncomfortable. He tells me he's not mad at me though, but he is cold. I get dressed and leave feeling super hurt because by his demeanor he was super cold with me and it felt like I did something wrong. I even came back 15 minutes later to try to reassure him. He's still standoffish, so I leave. I don't hear from him for the next 3 days. I text him to see what's going on and telling him I miss him. He responds saying that he's still not feeling great and that he's not mad at me. I try to engage in conversation through text, but he's short with me, not really engaging. Next day again I don't hear from him until 8 p.m. saying he's going to hang out with friends and hopes I had a good day. I reply okay. So the next day, today, I call him twice to try to talk to him and see how he is. He doesn't reply. At this point, I start getting ready to go see him at his house to see what's up. I felt so anxious and just wanted things to be okay because I understand him feeling a little embarrassed, but at this point it was really hurting me that he was being distant and cold with me. He kept saying he wasn't mad, but he was treating me so coldly. I've told him in the past before that if he needs space to process his feelings to please let me know verbally and when he is ready to come back. I was not getting any of that from him, so I went to his house. I rang the doorbell 3 times until he came out. He barely opened the door and says he just got out the shower. I could see his hair was wet and he was just dressed, so I guess he was telling the truth, but 3 rings? I waited there for a while too, and he has a ring so he could check, especially if I kept ringing. He tells me he doesn't want to talk and that he feels uncomfortable around me. He's still embarrassed and hurt. I ask him why he's been so distant and if he wants space to tell me. He says it should be obvious, even though in the past I explicitly told him to please tell me. He said I broke his trust by not telling him I didn't like him fingering me. At this point I am crying because I feel so helpless and powerless because I wasn't trying to do that. It just never came up explicitly that I didn't like it, but I would think it was kind of already known when I told him it would hurt me. I said that and he pretended not to remember. As I am crying here, he is emotionless, just watching me cry. I tell him it hurts me when he acts like this because it makes me feel like he doesn't care about me or how his actions are making me feel. I understand him feeling how he is, but the way he's doing it is hurting me and is sending me mixed signals, and I feel like he's not considering how his behavior is making me feel too. I don't get why he's acting like this. I told him I just want to talk and work through this, but he is adamant on not wanting to talk or anything. He used to care when I cried, but now it looks like it doesn't even faze him, but rather he looks more annoyed than anything. I told him he's not trying with me and I left. I am significant other confused. This is making me feel like I did something wrong and that I asking for too much or am unreasonable. Please, I would like others' input. Edit. I don't think I was clear on when I told him it hurt me. I've told him in the past that when he fingered me, it hurt me. I have told him this before. I am not sure if he forgot or has chosen not to remember, but I have told him this before. I thought he understood since he stopped doing it for a while, but all of a sudden now wants to do it. And when I reiterate myself again but with more detail, he's acting like this is a shocking news when I have mentioned this before. You didn't do anything wrong. You don't like it, it's not enjoyable and is painful. You don't have to do sex acts he likes that you don't. You've pushed his hands away and told him no, it hurts. To go cold on you for exercising your consent, being distant and pissy for days, then flipping it back to you that you somehow broke his trust, is some manipulative BS. Stop chasing him. If his ego is so fragile that he can't hear you when you tell him how you like to be pleasured, he's not mature enough to be in an intimate relationship. And if his answer is to treat you like you don't exist, he's not mature enough to be in any relationship. But seriously, you go back 15 minutes later to make sure he's okay. Then you're calling, texting, showing up at his place, crying, etc. Stop it. Nah, he's immature. Being an adult in a relationship means communication, that's literally bare minimum. I'd be done. It is 100% up to you what you are comfortable engaging in sexually with your partner. Obviously couples try to please each other and also some minor concessions may be made here and there. But if this is a boundary you have, he has no choice but to accept it and apologize for pushing the issue. I totally get the initial reaction of embarrassment because most of us guys want to be good at sex, and I can see him feeling awkward at first. But everything after that first 15 minutes is weird and seems manipulative on his part. He's an ass. He is trying to guilt and manipulate you into doing something with which you are uncomfortable. He is loving that you are chasing him. It's giving him a sense of power. Walk away. You don't need this. You want someone who respects you and your bodily autonomy. Stop calling, texting, going over. Stop begging him. He wants to humiliate you. Don't feed into it. I, 23F, fell and got mud all over me. Boyfriend is upset. Friend, 23M, gave me a change of clothes. Last weekend, some friends and I went out for a night in the city like we normally do every few weeks. Brock, friend, 23M, Dad owns a house that's on the beachfront, nearby the CBD, that we normally go to crash after a night out. Because his dad has always had the mindset of best sleep it off there than travel on public transport at 3 or 4 a.m. It was raining on the Saturday and in my drunken state, I fell down and got mud all over me. When we got to Brock's place, Brock offered to give me a change of clothes. I went to take a shower and he gave me his old track pants and hoodie from university to wear. My boyfriend was there for all of this and didn't say a word about it. Until he spoke to his brother and determined it was wrong for me to take another guy's clothes to wear. We've been fighting about it since Wednesday. There was nothing sexual about it. Brock literally left the clothes outside the bathroom door. He put my clothes in the washer and he went to bed. My boyfriend and friends went to our respective guest bedroom and slept. Nothing happened. He asked me why I still have the clothes, and it's because I haven't seen Brock since last Saturday to give them back. We've been constantly fighting and every conversation with him turns into this weird obsession that I have Brock's old hoodie. Your boyfriend would rather you sit uncomfortably in wet muddy clothes than let his dumb ego and unfounded insecurities take over. That's all I'm getting from this. It would have been incredibly rude for your host not to offer you clean clothes to change into and to wash your muddy clothes. What did your BF think you should have done? Turned down the clean clothes, and been uncomfortable all night in your wet, muddy clothes? Jesus. Your boyfriend is a controlling prick. I think that covers it. So your boyfriend was convinced post facto when talking to his brother that something is weird, and is now being an unreasonable asshole about it? That's not a great look for the boyfriend nor BS brother. You are dating the wrong guy.